Paul Steinweg, and welcome back to the Meadow Railroad. I had another video before this where I went through the details on how we created the layout you see here, which is 17 by 9, and with really the focus on wanting to use a lot of detail. So come on in to take a look. What I want to cover today with you is how I use spray foam to create the different elevations you see here, and also have the ability to create some really nice rock formations. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I discovered in this process. I've been doing model railroading and playing with trains all my life, and when I was a kid, it seemed like all we had was either paper mache or plaster of Paris and screen. And today we have some products on the market called spray foam. And I have found through this current project that I have here that this has been a tremendous asset to doing my scenery. So I thought I'd share it with you. You may have already seen this in the past. I know some other guys are doing it. So I really dove into it to give you some insight. As a starting point, I was able to get away from the old screen and structure behind it, and really stuck on this platform with styrofoam you can purchase at a home center. It comes in 4x8 sheets, and I use the 1-inch thick. And I cut it so that it forms contours of a hillside. And you can attach it either by gluing it, or what I did in this case is I just used nails to hold it all together. So once you trap it with the spray foam, you're going to see in a moment, it holds it all really stable. When considering spray foam, I first started with probably what's the most popular out there. It's called Great Stuff. I think they were one of the first, if not the first, to develop this, but there's been a few others come on the market. One is Loctite has one out there available, as well as GE has a version. So I thought I'd test them out for you and just show you how well they spread when you first spray them out. You'll see here as you come in close, the Loctite maintains a pretty steady height and stays very well controlled throughout. When you get to the Great Stuff and the GE version, they spray out, but they tend to have a shiny sheen to them, which may not be a problem, but they also can tend to really puff up on you. And so you have to be very careful not to get too much air under them as you're pulling the spray bottle here. So I'm going to demonstrate how I apply this. Okay, I'll demonstrate how I apply the foam to my contours, as you see here. I'm using the GE version. So what I do is I just push it in, and I just let it do it in layers like you see here. And that's how I do that. And then you can come here and you can make this part. You can And then what you usually have to do is just play with it a little bit, just to knock it down so it doesn't get too high. So this is the first step in just joining the contours together. And then once this dries, we'll be able to carve it and do some further development. Okay, I've given this a chance to settle and dry, and I've compared all three types of foam for you to see. First, I have the Loctite on the top. And you can see here that it's almost textured perfectly coming right out of the can. And then we have the Great Stuff foam, and we have the GE version. And you can see these two tend to be a little bit more maybe tubular in shape and a little bit less realistic, but you can still do some things with them to carve them flat if you want. You can carve away, add it to smooth them out, as you can see I'm doing here, or you can use a multi-tool to do the same thing, to give you the sort of contours and rock ledges that you want to get. Okay, so now it's painting time, and I use acrylic paints when I do my scenery work, and I just get as many earth tones as I can, and then I'll put them on a mixing board, and I'll just blend them together like you can see here, so I can get a mixture of different colors. I'll even throw some green in there, so I get kind of a green-brown, and that's usually my starting base. I start with the brown first, and I'll come in and just begin to cover over what I have here, and just try and get a few different colors dabbed in there so you can see some lights and some darks, as we go along. And so that's one way I get started, just like that. So at this stage, if I like the general shape of the terrain I have, I might go ahead and just cut into it with my knife, just to give some stratification to the rocks that you see there. And this gives it a little bit more of a realistic look and then I'll just dab a little bit more in there, and I've got a nice, what looks like a real rock formation there. Now, looking at the top here where I have the Loctite version, since I really like the way this is already almost formed like actual terrain, I can come in and just add my colors in right like you see, and you got almost a continuation of where I was finished off before. It gives you just a real nice look, and without a whole lot of artistic requirement needed, which some of us, really do appreciate. So what I'll do at the end, I have a number of colors here beginning to blend. I'll go ahead and grab some of my gray, might be mixed in with the brown, and that's okay because that's the way rocks really are. And then I can come over here and I can just touch the fronts of these, and that gives me an idea of what the rocks might look like in the front, because I'm going to come back later and cover the top part with some of the grass. So that gives us a bit of a rock ledge. Okay, as I finish up this section that we were working on earlier, what I'm going to do after this, after I get my base colors in, I have what looks like now a really nice terrain that blends some green and with some browns with some rock edge fronts. What I'll do next is, Woodland Scenics has a really nice product here. You can see it's a kind of a turf material looking product that comes in the jars you see here in different sizes. And so what I'll do is I'll take some of this now and I'll shake that in there. And what that does is that fills in some of the gaps you see that were there earlier. That just gives me a little bit of green like you can see there. And it tends to smooth things out so you don't see this rough edge from the original foam that we put down. Now it gives it a much smoother look. And then I'll come back and I'll add some brown on top of that. Whoops, add some brown on top of that. And now what I wind up with is a really nice natural looking terrain to put my foliage on. Okay, now that we're done our painting and our terrain with some of our textured grasses and whatnot, it's time to add some trees. And one of the real benefits of the foam is that you can very easily just apply trees by pushing them into the foam like you see there, and move them around at will, and you can create a really nice environment there pretty quickly. And so there you have it, kind of a finished approach. It didn't take us that long. It wasn't very expensive. And what I really like about it too is there wasn't much mess as compared to working with plaster of Paris and other mediums like this. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been informative to you. And I hope you had a lot of fun with your own railroad. So thanks for joining us.